Hello everybody, welcome back to Commonwealth Flipper. We're headed to the Commonwealth cabin, and there's something I've been watching for quite a while. I've been interested in. I've known this is true for a while, but now I'm really convinced of it. I'm seeing it across social media more and more on a daily basis. I think it's something that resellers can capitalize on for sure, and I want to talk about that and talk about what's sold today on eBay. Let's go take a look. As many of you know, I'm all over social media in different places. One of them is Facebook, and I see this, well, I guess I see it everywhere, but there's been some things that I've been doing that I have noticed trends in. Something that I post does far better than something else that I post that's not in this category. And I also read an article. Hey, you remember, see, I bought this little case here the other day. I posted it on Facebook. And this one right here, look, we've sold every single one in it already. That was super quick. Ghostbusters Nintendo video game. That one didn't sell for a ton, but it goes for okay. I paid $15 for all of them. This one sold for $13.25 plus shipping. One of the things I like to do is a little bit of research, but not in the boring style. And sometimes I'll click on articles or I'll look stuff up, and something hit me the other day in an article that says America's about to become one giant garage sale. And it really wasn't about this topic that I'm talking about, but it really got me thinking. It connected with a few things that I've been doing lately. Like, for instance, when I post things that are very nostalgic on Facebook, they tend to get a lot more views than I post informational stuff or different reselling type stuff. And it really isn't even close. And so I started to dig into quite a few different things, led me to this article. And this article got me thinking. The article was really about economics and tariffs and all kinds of different things. But it had some things in there that I thought were really interesting. It said, hey, you know, the last couple of decades has got people away from this stigma of secondhand goods. And it's really led them to look into other things, not just like wearing secondhand clothing, but they have become collectors, and it's a lifestyle. And there's a bunch of other factors, like, I'll mention some of these throughout the video. I'll mention one now. The fact that, especially for younger people, you know, the idea of the American dream is kind of out of reach. It's been for a while. I mean, I'm so fortunate and thankful that my son has been successful as he has, where he's building his own home at 22. And how many people can say that, can do that? It is so expensive to buy a house. It is so expensive to buy a car. Just those little things that some people have turned completely away because those things seem unattainable to them. And they're creating their own realities in much different ways. And they're getting that ownership that they get, that clout that they get, in a much smaller fashion, and then projecting it on social media. And I've seen a ton of this stuff lately. I've seen a ton of people posting entire collections in one picture, for instance. And they are known for being a collector of this or that or whatever. And there's so many facets I want to talk about. But the basis of this video, besides me picking some stuff here, is going to be the massive growth of collecting. Here's a cool little collector's piece, I suppose. I bought this over on Dibdit.com Labyrinth t-shirt. That one sold for $24. That is pretty cool. Plus shipping. And that's a Jim Henson item. And on the next video, you're going to see something that just sold that also, when I picked this up, I bought it for $25, and then I brought it home, and a day or two later or something, or maybe it was that day, I looked at it and I'm like, that thing's kind of cool. And I looked it up and my mind was absolutely blown. And I had 3 of these things, and we'll show it on the next video. And that was also a Jim Henson item. And I started to look a little bit, and I started, you know, obviously the card market is exploding, and, you know, there's different issues with that. And I'm not a card collector. I really am not a collector of anything, never have been. But even me lately, just because of the interest and intrigue into stuff, I've started to, it's like, okay, I'm keeping that. I'm keeping that. I'm keeping this. And I've built these little collections that are right now in tubs because I want to get that room fixed one day for it. And, you know, I kind of collect for a little while, right? But I started to dig into the numbers. I looked at the toy category first because there's tons of articles, because this is a massive growing category as well. And the adult children buying them, what was the word that they used? I can't remember. Kidults, that's what they called them. and there's massive growth. I thought, okay, is this something that is across the board? So I started to dig into the numbers, and every single age group is seeing an increase in collecting. What they're collecting is different, but every single age group, and some age groups, especially the younger ones, are seeing massive growth in categories that you would not expect. And I'm going to look at those numbers a little bit in this video. And honestly, I got to tell you, I looked at my numbers as well. And I sell a lot of collectible type stuff over on Dibdit. And the stuff, so I figured my numbers might not show growth in these categories, but my numbers are exploding in these categories, these collector type categories as well. And the amount of money I'm getting is a little bit higher. Plus I'm selling so much of it over there on Dibdit. So I can only imagine, I got to find a hat in here, how much real growth is in this category for me. And I look around and I'm just looking more and more. These, like my necessity type stuff, are always on the bottom rows and a little bit up here. But everything else is almost in the collectible realm. And I've been seeing some weird collections pop up lately. And I've been kind of highlighting them over there on my Facebook channel. People collect the oddest things, y'all. It's crazy. And the rise of social media selling, the whatnots, you know, we got our Dibdit and all that, is making collecting a community as well, in niched little communities. There's so much opportunity here. It's crazy. This is a case hat. And my daughter goes to gymnastics in a little bit. And this person asked for an expedited shipment for a birthday gift. So I'm going to package this one up really quick. $12.99 plus shipping on that case hat. Paid $1. I didn't realize this is actually a viewer sale. Buyer note, huge fan of your videos. If you don't mind, could you add a Commonwealth picker sticker for me? I'm buying this hat for a gift for my dad, who collects case knives. Thank you so much, and thank you for all the videos. They have inspired me to become a better reseller as well. County Boy Picker is my eBay page, and I would love a shout out. Well, you just got it. County Boy Picker Jason, thank you so much. It's headed to your dad, and we'll throw in a sticker for him. 2 points when I ship that right there. One is, did I just read that right? He collects case knives, and I imagine since it's this guy's father, he's probably a little older. And I'm going to talk about the numbers in each category, but I want to give you one number that blows my mind a little bit. And let me say this first. There's that. I shipped it. It took me just over 1 minute to ship that. I had somebody tell me the other day on the wire, because you can't ship anything in less than 5 minutes. I'm like, what are you talking about? They must deal in some tough stuff to ship. The utility of collectibles is not important anymore. It truly isn't. Well, in some categories, yes, like Lego and stuff like that. But most people aren't buying this to play it anymore. There are some, of course, they're buying it to do that. And that to me is interesting. I really love that. Because that's me. I don't play video games and whatever unless my kids wanted to do something. It's just simply being surrounded by something that makes you smile. Listen to these numbers. The highest numbers ever for respondents who are asked if they collect something or not, or interested in collectibles of whatever type. 64%, 65% of people responding give a affirmative yes. But listen to this one. Under the age of 44, 94% of people collect something. That blows my mind. And so the numbers at the younger age groups who are collecting, which would be typical. I mean, let's face it, if you're 90 years old, you might not be collecting anything, because it's like, collect some memories, spend time with some grandkids or something. But the numbers, the more and more I dug into this, it's like, how do we as resellers capitalize on this? And it is truly something I'm seeing on a daily basis over there on Dibdit. You see the same exact people in the same exact shows. And they truly are collectors. And I find myself, oh, look at that. I've never seen that before. That would look cool in my eBay cave that I've never built, which is called the Dibdit cave at this point, because that's what we do in there. And I'm just like, man, I think I need to tap into this market far more. And collectibles I'm not just talking about cards. I'm not just talking about toys and action figures, although those are expanding and exploding. People are collecting all kinds of weird stuff. And I've got a few thoughts that some of this stuff I've mentioned before, niching down if you're going to start social media, but you're not really somebody that wants to do massive social media in order to benefit your reselling business. And even people starting 2 or 3 or 4 different stores to focus on one category to draw in the collector. And I've seen people do this over on Dibdit where they sell everything. But on Dibdit, they only sell X, Y, or Z. And they become known as that person. And I think that is interesting. You see that on Whatnot as well, of course. And eBay Live and wherever else. This is an absolute miracle that this hat sold. I posted it the other day on Facebook. I so mislisted this. The title was bad. I misspelled fisherman hat, or fisherman. I didn't put an R, I put 2 E's. And this is the kind of thing that would keep an item for selling, and I didn't even see it till it's sold. I put like well, let me read it for you. When you're dealing with generic items, your titles are more important. There's no brand on there. There's this style. It's a corduroy hat. And I put vintage Aegean Greek fisherman cap hat, one size, corduroy, brown, silk inlay. So I figured that would pull in a bunch of people. But I misspelled fisherman on there, fishyman, and it was unbranded, and it took forever to sell, but it somehow sold at 30% off for $20.97 plus shipping. And like I always say this, there's so much opportunity out there. I see people, just type in Granny Square collection on Google or whatever, and you will find some insane stuff. Now, this isn't a Granny Square, and what's sold right here isn't a Granny Square either, if I can find it. It might take me a minute, you know. You will see images. This isn't a Granny Square, just, you know, crocheted in it or whatever. It's a baby blanket. It's pretty neat looking, little bears on it, pink and blue, and rabbits and lambs and kind of Easter style. That's sold for $17.95 plus shipping. I mean, I've seen Airbnb Granny Square Airbnbs. It's just that's just one example. I'm throwing out stuff here to get the point across here. It almost doesn't even matter what the heck the niche is at this point. There is a collector for it. Let me read you some of these numbers. And there are so many numbers, I don't even know where to start. I'll just give you a few little bits and pieces here. So looking at huge markets like, well, Brazil has a pretty good size market. China, of course, this is included with China. You see massive annual growth. Mexico, Brazil, South Africa. This only has those 4 listed. And then it talks about the U.S. markets and whatever. But seeing annual growth close to 10% in collecting, that's crazy numbers to me. Global markets. Growth is real. The global collectibles market size is projected to grow. These numbers are kind of mind-blowing. $294 billion in 2024 to $422.6 billion 5 years from now. The U.S. collectible market in 2024 was about $62 billion and is expected to reach $83.7 billion in that same time period. For the specific category of trading cards, global market forecasted growth is 10.45% by 2000 or through 2034. Some subsegments show much smaller growth and some much bigger growth. Example, toys, an action figure segment, collectibles market is projected to grow quicker than just about any other market in the next 6 years. So toys and action figures, but they go into different categories. They say, yes, even those boring old categories, you know, stamp collecting and whatever, are now again seeing growth, which is interesting to me because that's just not something that does interest me at all. But this does. The fact that even those, I don't want to say older collectibles, I guess, antique stuff and whatever, you're seeing growth in those categories with older age groups. Of course, the car collecting has been a thing for a while, but not even just collecting of actual automobiles, but bits and pieces and nostalgia is seeing growth again. All of this stuff they attribute to 2 things, well, 3 things. I'm going to throw in a 4th, but 2 of them are what I've talked about. The fact that we had the pandemic and everybody was inside and it got people interested in this stuff again. And you saw markets rise and fall. You saw that huge growth in the video game things because it had some utility to it as well in a time where we were inside or whatever. And so you saw a lull in that. We've talked about hats before. There are hat collectors. People will say the hat category is dead. And I would typically agree. Hats are much harder to sell than they used to be, or you don't get quite as much money. However, there are some hats that fly out of here. And to me, it's because of the collectability of the hat, not the utility of the hat. One little interesting side note is the, what do they call them, collaborations. I saw somebody selling on Dibdit, they were selling a collaboration. I can't remember. I know it was Little People, and it was collabed with something else. I can't remember if it was Simpsons or Avengers or something. And I kind of owe this one to my buddy. This one was obvious, but Rod picking and punching. We were in Cincinnati picking one time. And there's a table full of Vera Bradley. And I saw the prices for the bag, and I was like, oof, that's too much. And then he came walking out of that sale with a couple of Vera Bradleys. I'm like, man, you paid that much for that? He's like, look, do you see the Mickey Mouse stuff? And this is obvious, but those, they were like hidden. Little collaboration right here. Little Mickey Mouse, Vera Bradley, little wristlet wallet thing. $29.90 plus shipping. We're going to get into a few different things, but here's one number that stood out for me here. In one report, pop culture collectible categories, you know, and they give a bunch of different things that apply to that. You kind of get the picture, are showing user interest surges. Pop culture collectibles had a 48% growth in one of the metrics, buyer interests in that category. Here's another collectible category. I went inside and grabbed it. Took two hands, so. This little Tyco track here, it's got controllers and switches and all the stuff to it. I didn't really want to do too much research. I put it out there at a good price. Took a little while to sell, but not too long, at $100, $99 plus shipping. The next part I find interesting because I've seen this over the years. I've even commented on it, but let me read the whole little batch here. Growth is not uniform across all categories, obviously. Some traditional categories like coins, stamps, classical numismatics, may be more stable or slower growing compared to the rapid growth in pop culture, trading cards, digital format collectibles, while younger age groups are enthusiastic and growing in participation. Older age groups, Gen X and Boomers, still hold a significant share in the high-value collectible categories. Rising interest doesn't always guarantee value appreciation. Within categories, condition, rarity, and brand IP matter a lot. And I totally see this, the brand IP part of it. And the next part makes a ton of sense. Some growth is driven by nostalgia, obviously, media tie-ins, and limited editions, meaning trends can accelerate but also sometimes shift. And I see this in the markets that I sell in. Sometimes it's like, wow, I can't get what I used to. And then it's like, wow, that's worth way more than it used to be. And it happens almost month to month. Forecasts and, well, I don't know if this is going to talk about it here, but media tie-ins and media trends. And then I read a whole nother article about social media and media in general creating booms for short periods of time. My buddy Rod, again, always sends me, hey, this is the movie that's coming out in, say, 6 months, a year, 2 years, whatever. Start buying this stuff now because that stuff's going to sell. And let me tell you, it works. It's something to pay attention to. And those rising trends, even with older brands, you're seeing those just reboot stuff over and over and over again. And you see booms in that market, especially if you're not seeing new product come out with it. You're seeing the tie-ins and the collaborations. And it's all age groups, growth in all age groups. This has been one of our absolute best sellers of late. This was just a crazy buy. I'm looking for a 15. These are the Rode phone cases. That is definitely not it. 12 Pro. I'm looking for a 16 Pro Max. And they have lip gloss of some sort in there. And they have a, that's 14 Pro. Oh, I think that might be it, actually. I think it was 15. Is this a 15? 15 Pro. I believe it's these two right here. And I believe one sold for $24, one sold for $18.99 plus shipping. I think that's right, $18 plus shipping for each of those. So 18 and 24 plus shipping. They say something about each age group, the boomers and, the mid, what do they call them? Mid-older millennials and young millennials, Gen Z, sorry. Any rate, what excites me the most is that there's growth in all categories, which is awesome, even in the antique category and stuff like that. And there's one thing that really stood out to me with record collectors that really got me thinking, you know what, this isn't just a little trend. This is something that's going to stick with these folks. Most people who collect, they don't often give up their collection, or it's hard to give it up. And doing it at a young age, so all the way up to age 45, this is accounting for massive growth. The Gen Z crowd, 94% say they're collectors. That blows my mind. 94 out of 100 people are going to say yes, at that age group, we're collectors. And if you take the two categories together, young millennials and Gen Z, that number's still in the 80s, which is crazy good for resellers. And there's not a huge demand for brand new items, which I think is also very good, because people can use it or whatever, or kids. I don't think kids are playing with young, toys quite as much as they used to. So many digital products out there. But nonetheless, this age group for the next 15, 20, 30 years, I think you'll see an expansion. And what they're collecting may also change, which is really good. Like I said, there's some weird collections out there. There are people I've been seeing stuff come across, and people have been sending me stuff. I just bought this, and this thing sells, and I can't believe this sells. A bag from Taco Bell in 1991 or whatever. I've been posting stuff like high C boxes. Crazy to me. And it's the cross collaboration stuff. So that collaboration stuff that really is collectible, which I find really cool. I mean, I've gotten to the point where if anything turns my head at all because I haven't seen it before, I didn't want to put I knew it would sell pretty quick. I didn't want to put it in that one. So I left it right here. Little Victoria's Secret bag, brand new with the tags. Not a huge big deal, but it sold for 20 bucks plus shipping quickly. We've talked about LPs before. And, you know, those go through ups and downs. It is on a real resurgence right now, and I do not think it's going to end. This is going to be a good entree into talking about this topic. It is not an LP, it is a CD. And I've had tons of CD sales lately. One Man Army, Last Spoken Word. And that one is coming out of its case right there. So I have to get that back in there. This little CD right there sold for $24. So you would think that in the LP category, that the boomers and the Gen X crowd and whatever would be the highest level of collectors in that category. It is not. And this blows my mind. It's the millennials and the Gen Zers. They collect LPs at a far higher rate than folks like me and folks older than me. And that is kind of an interesting trend and I've seen that out there. I've seen a lot of young people with LPs. My daughter buys LPs, for instance. So I think that is highly encouraging. My daughter knows all the old music. She listens to it. The accessibility to this and the social media impact of this cannot be underestimated. The trends are going to be quicker, though. I think you're going to see, not in this category, but in some categories, you're going to see booms and busts way faster. Everything comes faster. All the change comes, and then it changes right after that. But boy, if you can get ahead of the curve on some of this stuff, I think you can make a lot of money. Sold a skull cap, a Sting skull cap. They don't go for much, $7.66, but you know, we had tons of them. We're starting to dwindle down a little bit. I just had just ironically, because what we're talking about, an alert come across that there's another Disney show over there, Disney pin show over there on Duty.com. And I'm thinking about my daughter. My daughter has a book bag that she takes to gymnastics, a little backpack, and it is just full of pins. If there's, well, I would say she collects a couple things, but that is the main thing she collects, not just Disney, just pins in general. She loves them. She's got hundreds of them. Red versus Blue Halo. This one was actually pretty decent money. Picked it up at the 100-mile sale not too long ago here in Virginia. $19.95 for that, plus shipping. In the Diptych Cave right now, and I'm looking for that right there, a little wicker case. And I'm gonna have to move some stuff out of the way, I think, to get it. And I'm gonna get it. This is a cross collectible right here, cross-generational collectible. It's got some endurance. I grabbed something else that sold as well while I was in there because it was right next to it. I'll do these first. Crate and Barrel, like little candy cauldron bowls, cereal bowls, I don't know what you want to call them. $24.95 plus shipping for those. This is an American Girl case. And this one, American Girl Bitty Baby Wicker Basket Suitcase Lined, $44.95 plus shipping. And speaking of things that I actually like to collect, I love PVCs. It's one of my favorite things. I gotta find, looking for something, somebody, a little Smurf brushing his teeth. Y'all see one in there? I don't see one in there, so maybe it's in here. I don't know. I might just find it for y'all instead of digging. Okay, I found him, a little, whoop, Smurf from the 70s, late 70s, I think, Theo Schleich. And I put dentist in that title. Some of them don't have that in the title. And I think doing that, looking at what exactly the thing is and see, you know, maybe equestrian or, I don't know, I don't know, police, you know, that kind of stuff. So you just put a little extra in the title that might bring in one extra buyer. You never know. $5.95 plus shipping. And I see that went to Ordy. So Ordy, thank you. And here we go. This guy right here sold as well. Bowser, 2.5 inch. It's a PVC style, but it does move a little bit, I believe. I think. Anyway, that one sold for $7 plus shipping. Turner's game got canceled for rain today. He's not very happy about it. It's not even raining. It is cold though, isn't it? Here we go. Cabo Wabo Cantina t-shirt. And this one didn't sell for a bunch, but it sold. Size large, $14 plus shipping. There's been a little honey hole back here. Boy, all this road stuff has gone great. I'm looking for a 16 ribbon. I think that's what I'm looking for. That's ribbon. But I think it's just a 16 ribbon. That's a plus. I thought it was just 16. Pro Max? That doesn't make sense. Let me go look again. Alright, it was a 16 plus. And it's got the ribbon lip tint in it and the phone case, $30 for that one plus shipping. And those have sustained me for the last couple of weeks when I have not been listing like I typically do. I'm all alone. I'm a single dad here. My wife's been gone. Jess has been gone for 2 weeks. And I'm just struggling to get some listings up every day. Have not even got into my list easier stuff, which, whew, was hoping to absolutely roll into Q4 and crush it. We're still doing good, y'all. Golden Marshmallow. These two, I bought these, a bunch more. I got 2 bags outside. I think I paid like $100 or something for all of them. These 2 Golden Marshmallows. My favorite winter song, Christmas song, is Marshmallow World, Dean Martin. Dean Martin and Frank sang it together. I love it, even though it doesn't mention Christmas. $24.95 plus shipping. And this was a viewer sale. I think we had 3 today. One of my favorite flavors and smells. Very cool. Looking forward to trying it. You only live once. Amen to that. You guys are doing great. You'll get through this hiccup. Yeah, let me tell you, I've been working my butt off. And I still can't get done when I'm supposed to. I probably should have, to be honest, I probably should have just shut down my Dib Dit sales. Because that's what Jess does so much of, all of, really. And it has been really taking up a lot of time, and I'm afraid I'm not getting stuff listed on eBay quick enough. And I'm so behind that I haven't even done what I know I could do to get a ton of listings up and use that list easier, because I want to have that system. I'm stubborn that way. But we're going to get it going here pretty quick. Link below if you didn't hear the news on the last show, $14.99. And it's not even a plan. Go down there and hit that link below, and you can give it a shot. But learn what you're doing first. It's a little bit of a learning curve. And if you do it right, I think it'll make a lot of people a lot of money for a long, long time. Cheapest, best product out there, in my humble opinion. I'm praying for y'all. Amen. Hope Jess's mom is doing better. Yeah, for sure. So thank you, Nancy. We really do appreciate it, and I hope you enjoy them. If you deal in collectibles of any sort, that's everything. I feel like everything's a collectible these days. There are people, I see the weirdest stuff. I see people that collect rulers and yardsticks, and I see people, of course, that collect plush. My favorite thing is the people that collect an IP, an intellectual property, because they brand so many different things with it, and they try to get everything. Or somebody that's trying to get every figure from this line, or everything from whatever this is. But there are collectors out there. Just, you want to go on a deep dive sometime, look at some of this stuff online. It's like you have pages dedicated to X, Y, or Z. It's like, wow, that's all that page is about. And there are so many people that follow them. So anyway, interesting topic to me, and definitely something to be paying attention to. I am going to be buying in these categories. I always have, but more and more, because this is what is selling for me. And probably less and less of the, I say that, but I'm going to buy anything that makes me a buck. I suppose most of you out there are thinking along those lines as well, but I appreciate you stopping by, and I can't wait to see you next time.